Good evening, everybody. Sorry for the delay. We were getting books ready because, of course, in all of our hastiness of preparing for tonight's show, I forgot to tell Lily, hey, you might want to have a book or two handy. So between my stash and her stash, we might have them all, well, a good bit of them anyway, covered. So I'm Stephanie from Stephanie's Book Reports, and this is my show called That's Novel. Let's see. So if you are new to the show, if you're watching on the computer, on the right-hand side of your screen is a live chat box. So you can type in there any questions that you have, and I am going to be watching. So if it looks like I'm not looking at the screen, I'm looking over here. I'm not trying to ignore her. Granted, I think it's usually the other way around. She tries to ignore me. Ignore her. Because she's busy doing this, and it's like, shut up, Stephanie, I'm trying to write a book here. So post your questions. I will ask them as we go along for the show. And then, of course, I keep staring at my stack of books over here so that I can, well, they're not mine. They're in my possession, I suppose they're mine, but these are not for me. I'm supposed to give these away, but I've been holding on to them because I'm stingy. That's been like 3 years. I've had 2 years.
3? I think it's 3. Wait.
I am stingy. I've had these at least 2 years. It's been at least 2 years, if not 3, to give away, and but they still sit. It's like, I'm going to hold on to them for dear life.
Well, how rarely do you get them from me? So.
Right, exactly. Because that was like the last time. Well, not really. That wasn't the last time I saw you, but that was the cruise. So it was like 3 years ago, right? That was 2014, 15, 16, 17. Yeah.
I thought it was 15. I think it was February 15. Because 14 was your first. Yeah, sorry, my cats have decided to join.
Yes, 14 was New York, so yeah, 15. Yes, 15, 7 years. Okay.
I've lost track, honestly.
Yes, New York was 14. Yes, because 2018 will be 5 years, so yes, that's right. Anyway. Well, just because I keep playing with it, this is the book that started it for us and for Miss Lily. This is her other pen, Miss Willis. This book is the very first book she ever wrote, so don't judge.
Yeah, that needs to be rewritten.
It's the very, if you want to know how an author grows in the 4 years that they've been writing, you check out this book, and then you check out the one that releases tomorrow, and then you tell me the difference. Well, it's not only that, like, I was looking at your formatting in this book. Look at this thing. Yeah. So, I was like, wow, Donna says,
I think I've improved.
Yes, you've improved drastically there. It's not like doing space. Well, anyhow, that's all right. Donna still says she still has her necklace.
Aww.
Necklace. So this cover was hand painted. The Control series. So all of you that don't know, that all 3 books in this series were hand painted, and this is representative of the storyline. So it has a significance, a huge significance of the story. And this is the necklace that she's talking about here. But this is kind of cool. One of Lily's friends, Jason Lee, painted these covers, and then she turned them into the painting into the cover for the book. All 3 of them are amazing. They represent the storyline fairly well. He did a decent job with not having read the story, just saying, here, this is what is supposed to happen. Draw me something.
Figure it out. You got this.
Right? Exactly. So, and he did. He did a good job with never having done book covers before, and so yes, this is where it all began. So don't judge from there on. Two, and of course, excuse me, we have. She has also under the MS Willis. You have Because of Ellison is her one and only contemporary romance. You have her there with you.
I do. Here's my baby. The only sweet book you will ever get out of me. Ever. And it's still really sad.
It's a very sad love story, but it is a love story.
It is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That one I can actually list in romance and stick by it.
It's completely safe. It's completely safe. It'll make you cry. I
think all of mine are romance. They're just a different form of romance. I can't help that other people don't see it the same way.
Yeah, it has a little R instead of a big R, so
big X.
Right.
Cat. Exactly. What are you doing?
Right. We don't want to see your tail. Hello. Furry beast. Yes. And so, and then of course we have the estate. You did you say you have Joseph?
Yeah, I've got my boy Joseph. So
yes, that's her romantic horror.
Yeah, very romantic tale. Probably romance gone bad, but still romance in there.
Very, very bad. Like very, very, very bad. Like off the deep end.
Bad. Off the deep end. Bad.
Literally
yeah. Especially for a book that I never actually intended to write. But I ended up writing it because everybody really wanted to know Joseph's backstory. So.
And it was only supposed to be a novella. 90,000 words later.
Yeah, they're all only supposed to be novellas. They just keep going.
Yes, that was the funny part. When she was writing Joseph Fallen, it was literally only going to be a novella. And then she surpassed novella. She was like, oh, crap. Like, this could be a little bit longer. And then it turned into be a completely full-size novel. But I think that it definitely, I mean, obviously, he worked it out in your head to tell his full story. I don't think that you could have gotten all of that in a novella if you tried, because there's just so much to his insanity that
yeah, he kind of took over on that storyline, and I'm okay with that. I didn't mind exploring Joseph. Some people might have minded reading about him, but I didn't mind writing it. Because he created the estate, so I would think, it's true that his backstory would be essential to what this organization is, what Aaron and Xander, sorry, my cat's just like not giving up tonight. They're very much like me. They're very stubborn. They're gonna get in my lap whether I like it or not. But yeah, so I'm glad actually I went there so that people could see the true ruthlessness of the man who created, what the organization that Aaron and Xander have such issues with, so maybe they can see why these two are so dead set against it. I mean, I'm extremely excited to finally jump back into the series, just because I know it's been waiting, but I'm excited about letting you guys know where this is going. Either A, you're gonna let me, B, you'll probably hate me, but I've known all along what happens in the end, so,
or a combination thereof.
Yes. Yeah.
We're all looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've already had some people tell me that certain characters will be safe no matter what, and I just kind of smile and nod.
Right. Yes. Never say never. Not with the.
No, not with my books, unfortunately. You know, they just kind of go where they go. The characters take over, kind of do what they want to do, and I'm just along for the ride as much as the reader for some of them. You know, Aiden was supposed to be a sweetheart in her master's courtesan. It just didn't turn out that way.
Not that way. Yes. Well, The Estate, if y'all have not read, those of you that are watching, if you've not read The Estate, it's definitely is a different. I'm trying to figure out how not to put it into words to not spoil anything, but okay, so if you have only been introduced to Lily White books, Joseph is way worse than any other Lily White character you've been introduced to so far. A little bit of foreshadowing there. So far, Joseph is the worst, and definitely is one you should try, especially if you like dark, twisted stories. So anyhow, and then after Joseph comes Maddie, and you actually, if you have not read Madeline Abducted, you have to actually type in the title into Amazon if you're an Amazon reader, because the cover is hidden, or the book has been hidden by Amazon because of the cover. There's not really anything wrong with the cover. It has a butt crack that's been covered up by a hand. I mean, really, people. Is it because it shows a back? Really?
I have no idea. But yet they're not gonna cover up HMR's cover, and you can tell she's plainly unclothed. So I don't get Amazon. I don't even question it anymore. I'm just kind of like, okay.
Whatever. I don't know. So you have to type in Madeline Abducted to read that book, which was published first in The Estate. But then you have to go back and read Joseph. So I would read Joseph first and then read Maddie, because I mean, really, that's the way it wasn't intended that way originally, because Maddie was first and then she went back and wrote Joseph. But now, since Joseph is available, I would read him first and then Maddie and then Xander.
Xander.
So, and then after that we have
Honor.
Yes, well, Honor Bound, but that is Jason.
It's Jason.
And so, yeah. Anyway,
Halo is coming up right now. You guys can't see it, but it's there.
Right. And then after Honor Bound is another book called Grace Restored, and I'm most looking forward to Grace Restored. I mean, don't get me wrong, but Honor Bound I'm looking forward to, but Grace Restored I'm really looking forward to. Maybe it's because I have a little bit of foreshadowing.
Oh yeah.
Just a little. As to how things are going to go. I don't know how she's going to create all this stuff, but anyway, I'm looking forward to it. And but once we get through all this other stuff, then we can get to Honor Bound and Grace Restored.
No doubt.
Yeah, one of these days. It was supposed to be this year. Now it might be next year. Oh, we'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna my intent, okay, you're getting down, is to write and publish Illusions of Evil. In November, republish The Estate under Lily White, so that all my dark is just kind of grouped together. And then start on Honor Bound and get that released after Christmas. But my fear is once people reach the end of Illusions of Evil, there's kind of going to be a demand for book 2 on that one. So if the demand is high enough, then I will go ahead and pump out Fear the Wicked. so that that's done, and I can move on and finally finish the estate.
Definitely fear the wicked. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You know, which reminds me, and I didn't think about it when we were discussing the title, Fear the Wicked, but now it reminds me of what's that book, the classic, Something Wicked This Way Comes?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really wicked.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, after Her Master's Courtesan got banned, and especially with what's going on with Barnes and Noble kind of jumping on this banning wagon, I started tempering my darkness. I would say I started trying to hold back in my writing so as not to offend the book-selling gods. And I think with Fear the Wicked is I'm kind of shirking that and just diving in to as dark as I could possibly be. Now, I mean, obviously I'll do it intelligently, so I kind of skirt those boundaries and don't get, immediately banned and my account's shut down and this woman's crazy. The paddy wagon called on me. I'm hauled off in a straitjacket. We're going to try to avoid that. But yeah, Illusions of Evil and Fear the Wicked, I mean, they do go to a level of dark that some people might find disturbing. But it's
this is where we need our little horns. I need, where's my daughter has kitty cat ear headbands. I need those to look like little.
Halloween's coming up. I can just buy some, and for I guess my author video, I could just put the horns on.
Yeah. Except for they don't need to be red; they need to be black. Yes, they need to be black. Yes.
Yeah.
Before we get into IOE, because we definitely will cover that sucker. This is Her Master's Courtesan. You can get it on Smashwords only. Is the only place that you can get this book. And really, you should read this before you read Her Master's Redemption, which comes out tomorrow, just so that you get to meet Hayden.
And all his glory.
And all of his psychosis. And then, I mean, he's not as bad as some, but he's definitely. And this is the second in that series, Her Master's Teacher. But these guys, they show up in Her Master's Redemption, but it's not necessary to have read this book in order to read the Redemption. Really, it's a softer book. If y'all are Her Master series readers, it's a softer story than these two.
It's Anthony, though. I mean,
yes, he's so sweet.
Yeah, really. He's a different. I wouldn't try him, but I mean, he's a different master, and I think that was kind of why I made Aiden, to a certain extent, such a large part of the storyline. Is number one, to kind of, he needed to be part of it for what occurred, but also to kind of show the difference in these two masters and see that the society, the organization that they're part of, it's not all about this abusive, controlling. That's not how all of them operate. That's very much Aiden, in the way he does it. So the point of this is you've got these masters who know how to manipulate women, who know how to train women, and they all have a different style to it. So I really enjoyed having the two of them together in this book, so you could really see the differences between them. Kitty, I'm about to master you. All right.
Right? So, she's like, I just want to come on. I want to be on the show too, Mom.
I want to be on the show.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the differences. I mean, Anthony is my reviewer, and I showed this to Lily when I got her. She sent me my reviewer sent me a snap on Snapchat after she was reading. She read the Courtesan first, and then she went directly to Redemption, and she sent me a snap on Snapchat with some red angry faces. She had Aiden's name with red angry faces, and then she had Anthony's name with hearts. If that tells you anything about this book.
Mm-hmm.
They are both. You can't put Anthony, even if throughout the series, even Courtesan and Teacher and Christmas, you can't. He's not the same as Aiden. His intensity is totally focused differently than Aiden. Aiden is intense. He's an intense individual. He's very, not necessarily high strung, but he's
very businesslike. His demeanor, he's very to the point, very unemotional. He's a means to the end kind of person. This is what I have to do to make this happen. This is what I'm doing regardless of what it does to anybody else. Which makes him very driven in what he does, and his love of money, which is his number one love, or at least that's what he will claim is his number one love. We'll see if that changes with the last book in the series. Which, Anthony actually plays a role in that book too, so he'll kind of add the humor, I think, to this
will be on the other foot this time around.
Yeah, he gets even, in the best way possible, and so I'm actually very excited to write that one. I am holding off until next year before I write it, though, because we do go back to Aiden and his shenanigans. So while this new buzz of banning dark books is going on, I'd like to kind of let that blow over just a little bit before I kind of sneak this one through the gates. I'm just going to kind of throw it out there and run away.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
I didn't do it. That wasn't me. I didn't.
Me. It doesn't have my name on it.
Yeah. So that one will probably come out, like, thinking on my release schedule, that one would probably come out summer. So we're probably looking a little bit before a year. But I want to get, obviously, the Illusion books done. I want to get the estate finished. At some point, we're going to finish Serial. And
that's
then
right. Co-writes with Jaden.
With Jaden Willis, correct. Mm-hmm. And in fact, that one's almost done. We are so close to finishing that this is going to be a surprise release at some point. And then, of course, I've got another one I haven't announced yet, so that'll probably be coming in February or March, that I'm extremely excited about. It's going to be interesting to write it and see if I can pull it off without getting myself in trouble. So
always the goal. That's like the if anybody would ever have a peek into mine and Lily's conversations, it'd be like, do you think, is this too far? Is this too much? What do you think about this? It's kind of the thing that we bounce back and forth a lot on a daily basis, just to make sure it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't think people understand, because a lot of people, I love the reactions to my books, especially people who've never read them, people who have kind of dabbled in dark, but not really gone there, and then they read mine and they're like, this woman's insane. I mean, I've had people like suggest that I'm crazy and that I need to be medicated. And I mean, okay. Yeah, exactly. But they've attacked me personally, that because I've written this book, I must be this horrible person that needs to be stripped off the face of the earth, which of course I laugh at that because I think it's funny. But a lot of times readers don't understand I've actually held myself back in these books on where I'd technically be willing to go. I think next year I'm going to stop doing that. So for those that want to
watch out.
Yeah, for those that want it dark, I can give it to you. Just remember you asked for it. So.
Yes, they did. Yes,
they did. And no, I was laughing probably the entire time I was writing it. So.
Yes, she is too. She even laughs at me the entire time because, So for those of you that don't know, I mean, obviously we've been talking about this, but Lily and I have been working together since like 2013. And so I guess. Well, and I'm also her literary agent, so I guess I kind of takes the cake there too. Books, I get to read all these kind of cool things and bounce ideas, and then to do some crazy plotting. This is I tell the story often. So when she came up with this story with the idea of the estate, okay, now so that's been like 3 years ago, right? Because that was published
2014. No, 2013 is when I published Maddie. I published Joseph and Hope. I published in January of the following year. So yeah.
Yeah. So they've been around a while.
Mm-hmm.
Here goes the hair again, because y'all know I can't leave my hair alone. Anyway, so she came up with the idea, and she was like, "What do you think about, or do you see how did you say it?" She said something about reading horror, and I was like, I don't. She was like, "Well, you'll read mine." Okay. Well,
Got that. Yeah.
we'll see about that. Well, so I did. And of course, with Joseph, I had dreams. This crazy lady made me have dreams about that crazy book. So I had to stop. Like, I knew exactly, like 70% of the book I had to stop, because I just knew I didn't know what was coming. She didn't give that part away, but I just knew after that part of the story, it was going to go downhill quick. And since I had already been dreaming about the story, I was going to be in trouble. Well, so I'm bringing all this back up to say, tomorrow, y'all know Her Master's Redemption releases tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 7th of September, and that's when it releases. Well, next month in October, you will get another release from Lily, and it's called Illusions of Evil. And you will get to meet somebody that's going to give Joseph a run for his money. I've already started dreaming about this story. So, and she hasn't finished writing it yet, and I've already started dreaming about these people. So, and she's laughing, because then I told her I already had a dream about it. She's like, "You're in trouble." Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Dreaming about these people, and it's not bad. My mind, and this is in books that I thoroughly enjoy, I get wrapped up in the story. My mind starts to create endings or solutions, if you will, to the story. I mean, I'm not writing anything, and it even happens sometimes in books that aren't Lily White's. Like, I'll be reading a book. For instance, there was an MC book that I read once. It was completed, published, everything, and my mind was already trying to rewrite the story. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. This is completed. We can't rewrite the story. This is crazy. So this Illusions of Evil is really going to give Joseph Fallen, not illusions, but probably Fear the Wicked is going to give.
The last third of Illusions. Personally, in what I read, I love books that have a slow build to them, that something is coming, and it's really bad what's coming. And then when it finally hits, it's like the top of the roller coaster going down. Now you're stuck in it. The trap's been set. There's no getting out of this at this point, and that's kind of the way Illusions is set up. Which is why I think people are going to want the second book pretty quick, even though it does not end on a cliffhanger. It ends with a definite, this is how it ends. But it sets up the next book when a character takes over. So it's really hard to talk about without giving it away.
No spoilers. We haven't even got the first book yet. Well, they haven't.
Yeah, no spoilers. Just know that this is dark. Is it romance? Ooh,
No.
no. No.
It has romantic element. Well, it has some sexual elements to the story, but
Yeah,
they're not romantic.
it has erotic elements to it. A lot of taboo erotic elements to it. Could I categorize it as romance? Probably not. Probably not. And I'm okay with that. I think it's a different storyline altogether, than a lot of people have read. So I'm really excited to see how people are going to react to it. So we'll see.
The hellfire and damnation, pitchforks, and all that stuff.
Yes, I can say that. Everybody knows that there is a priest in this book, a very hot priest who is extremely struggling, vacillating. Yeah, he is struggling to maintain his faith through the situation that is occurring in this book, and will he pull it off? Won't he? That's one of the questions that'll need to be answered. Not all of them, but definitely one of them. So yeah.
Yes, I keep hitting her with questions. I think I asked you like 3 or 4 of them today. Like, where are you doing with this? This is what I want to know. This is what I want to know. This is what I want to know. Am I supposed to know this already? Because I don't know this already. Have you covered this? Because I didn't get it. It's like she laughs at me because I am a story sleuth. I love to see if I can figure out storyline before the book ends. And she's always questioning me about what I think is happening in the storyline, if I figured it out, and how quickly I figured it out. So, Four Crows. I was like, what book was that? It's Four Crows. 3 books later. Four Crows. There, she's got it. There he is. Yes, so it took me till 65% of that novel to figure it out. And I was like, yes, I got it. And of course, she's laughing at me. But really, it took me 64%. I figured it out. And that was kind of actually long. That took a while for me to figure it out. Usually I figure stories out way before that. But that one, I was like.
Yeah, Wait to Dream. Wait to Dream, too. That was another one where I made people pretty much wait to the very end before they knew what was going on with that book. But I love books like that. I'm like you. I usually figure them out on the first or second page, and that ruins it for me because now I know the entire time, and I get to the end and I'm like, there it is. So I love the ones that really keep me guessing. I have no clue what is going on here, and they drive me crazy, and I'm fighting, not like swiping to the end just to find out if I'm right. They're the best, So I like to give that back to my readers. I know it's not for everybody. These are not comfy, cozy romances. Asylum too. Yes.
This one definitely will take you on a ride.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in this story?
Through a madhouse. I love that story too. And that's I love my characters. I love them. I develop a relationship with them almost, at times I have to be at times I have to be in their heads. And my poor family suffers from that because they'll interrupt me at the wrong time, especially when I was writing Joseph. They caught me as Joseph, and
really, you think about women. Okay, so for those of you that are watching that are men, sorry, but really women, how you act like on PMS if you're going through that time of the month or whatever, and your hormones are all jacked up and you're just like, well, add that plus male testosterone in insanity.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That was Lily writing Joseph, and you could catch it. I could see it from our thumb conversations on the phone, our messenger conversations. You could see it. You would know, like, if you interrupted, if she was still in the character's frame of mind. It still happens. writing Illusions of Evil, you're having that same. It's probably gonna be worse with Fear of the Wicked, though, or Fear of the Wicked.
It will, because I'll be in a certain head for the majority of that book, and that I've dabbled in that particular character and in that mindset, and yeah, that's a scary one. You know, that's a scary one to go to, because I think also it scares me because it's not too far off than what's actually existed in reality. Because you know me, I've studied all sorts of crime and craziness and insanity out there, and so this has happened, you know. So now I get to explore it like I'm right there in it. So yeah, I think even my dogs kind of figured out too when I'm writing. I like to call them my hounds of hell, because I'm sitting there like creating pure evil on the computer, but they'll sit next to me. And if any of my family comes in to bother me, I mean, these dogs just, yeah, they know.
Growling Central, like, don't go there. You don't want to go there right now.
It's amazing, because Hemi, my German Shepherd mix, was always like that. And I just thought he's German Shepherd Chow, you know, so he gets very territorial and very protective of me. But then I got Annie, who's the Staffordshire mix, and he's taught her to do the same thing. So I'll just be in here working and I have my headphones on, and I don't even know my family's trying to get to me because the dogs are over there like backing them off. You know, not that they'd hurt the family, but they're definitely making it known that mommy is not to be disturbed at this moment. Enter at your own risk, I think. So maybe they're trying to help the family is really what it is.
That could very well be too. Y'all don't want to come in here. She on a crazy mode. Y'all don't want to face any of that stuff.
We can feel what's coming off her right now, and it's not good. Yeah. Yeah.
Use a little discernment when you breach the store. Yeah, you know.
Obviously, my cats don't seem to care. They're just gonna do what they want.
They're trying to make you feel better.
I know. I
just want to love on mommy.
Always. I think if they could live in my lap, they would. So they're demanding little creatures. I don't know where they get that from. It definitely isn't me.
Well, the rest of your household.
Hey, I live in a madhouse. It's fun.
This, here, I'll show this one too. This is the last paperback that I have of Lily's. This is her one and only MC novel. It's called Hard Roads. If you are squeamish, oh, maybe I should say that too. If you're squeamish, you need to watch out for Maddie, and you need to watch out for Hard Roads. That was like,
and Asylum. You need to watch out for that.
Well, maybe just by the time you got to Asylum, I was kind of desensitized. I don't know, but like I just remember really Joseph and Hard Roads are two that I was like, holy crap, what in the world is going on? I mean, that one motorcycle scene, and then of course Joseph, the car scene. It's but.
Well, actually, I consulted with a biker on Hard Roads. Asked him if you were in this situation. So he told me, and I did it. So
yeah, which is why it's like, ooh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, more about it. Yeah. To know that it's been done, potentially.
Yeah, that's what scared me too. Is, you know, again, this is something that may have already occurred in reality, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The names be protected. Research. Copyright material.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So if you haven't read Hard Roads, I mean any of that stuff. You don't have do you have my book? One that I often listen at me. My book. Because I have a starting role in it.
Oh, target this. Yes, I do.
Yes. I recommend that book to like anybody that hasn't picked up a Lily White book. I'm like, you should try Target this first.
Yeah. I actually have it in hardback. So
it's a good one. If you haven't, if you are kind of new to psychological thrillers, I would definitely recommend reading Target this first. Get your feet wet.
It's not as bad. Target this was actually my response to Her Master's Courtesan getting banned. So it's got a heavy theme of what is acceptable in fiction, I think. So I really love that because you've got a dark author who's the man in the story, kind of working his magic, I guess I would say, on a very prim and proper female librarian who doesn't believe that dark erotica or romance should exist. And so he showed her why it should. But yeah, I'm still thinking I'm going to do a second book to this with your character, explaining how she ended up working for this particular author, how all of this got engineered, leading up to what occurs in this particular story. Because a lot of people, with the way it ended, a lot of people were like, okay, you need to go into more depth. It's kind of like what happened with Maddie. More people wanted to know about Joseph. Well, with this one, they want to know about Sarah. Yeah.
Because I'm glutton for punishment. No. But really, it's thrilling. It's yes. And then that was always the fun part, was to say, hey, you need to retarget this and then tell me who you think I am.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so if you've never read psychological thriller, it's definitely one to get your feet wet. And Lori is asking, isn't there a character from Hard Roads that's getting his own book? You had talked about that at one time, but I don't know if you ever really.
Oh yeah. I forget his name. The drug dealer, gang leader guy. Mm-hmm. I was going to explore him. I liked him as a character. He was just a secondary character in Hard Roads, but I really liked him. He's pure evil, so of course I would. So I may still go there. He's another very dark story. But now that I'm kind of shucking the cloth of trying to rein myself in and just really kind of going for it at this point, in all my glory, I might go back to him now, because when I kind of started going a little bit lighter, that was definitely a story that would be difficult for me to write and really portray who this guy is. But now that I'm kind of over that, there's the possibility I'll write him a book. But again, it's going to be one of those that proceed with caution. I think that's just going to start being my warning on all my books. It's just a big proceed with caution sign, and underneath it, all the triggers. Oh. Yeah. All the triggers, all of them, every single one. There you go.
You can't handle it, don't read it.
Do not read it.
That's pretty much it.
Well, you still have those people that'll see the warning and be like, oh, how bad can it be? And they get to the end of it and they are.
Oh my God, I can't believe she went there. But she does go there, people.
Yeah. And I think that's the funniest part is, people being upset about it, especially some of my lighter books that they've been like, oh my God. And I'm like, honey, if you just knew, like, where I can go. And maybe it's a product of, I love horror movies. I love paranormal. I love dark fantasy. And those books, they'll take you places that are the deepest circle of hell you can possibly go. And then, I've studied real crime and badness in the world. And so there's this mixture of all of this information in my head, and so my imagination typically always goes directly there. So I can't help it. Yeah, it's just who I am. But I love it.
And then a career in law. And
that too.
It doesn't help any either. You get to see all these crazy things people do to one another.
It's awful. Yeah, it is awful. I mean, honestly, reality is actually scarier than these books, and most people just don't realize it, of how truly bad it can be. But I've seen it, and I know it exists, and I love exploring it and bringing it to my readers. I seem to think they like it. They kind of throw their hands up and, yay, let's do more of this. Okay, well, let's do it.
For more.
Yeah, so 2017 now, 2018 should be a dark one. So we'll see just how.
Laura said, I think I put in one of my reviews, it was like a car accident. I didn't want to look, but I couldn't look away.
Yeah, there's rubbernecking in my books. You're like, oh God, I know what's coming. I'm going to shield my eyes, and then you're reading through your hands, and I love that. I love that feeling. So if I can give that to other people, then there you go. And I've been told that I need to go darker. So okay, here we go.
Yes.
Yeah. My poor family.
Right. At least they have forewarning. Some, whether they believe it or not, they have some forewarning.
You know what though? They're used to me. Obviously, they're used to my eccentricities. And honestly, if they were to come out and I was sitting there reading a standard romance and wearing pearls or neighbor, I don't know what normal people do, but if I was doing any of that stuff, they would probably drag me off to make sure I was okay. I've never fit that mold.
Yes, as you were doing your research this week for Illusions of Evil, and your husband's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, he walks by and I'm looking up rosary images for teasers, and then the next time he walks by and I'm researching like Bible quotes, and he's like, what is going on? Is there something I need to know about you right now? And I'm like, no, it's for a book, it's fine. Okay, so this isn't like a cry for help. And I'm like, no, I'm good.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is abnormal. I mean, ish for you. You don't sit around Googling quotes and looking at rosaries because you're not Catholic. So
I am not Catholic, and in that I'm trying to, especially with this particular book, because it does involve a religion, I don't want to step on toes in the way I portray certain things. So I'm trying to be extremely careful in this book to portray this character, but not make it seem like that's my opinion of the religion as a whole. So I think we were talking about the warning I'm going to have to put on this, that this is a fictional book, this is a fictional character, this does not express the views of the author, it's a story, so that they understand that. Because the last thing I want to be accused of is putting down a faith or putting down a person's belief system. That's not me. Believe what you want, I'll believe what I want, but this is just a story. So
it's fiction, people. Fiction.
It's fiction. I won't be listing it in like a Christian inspirational or anything of that nature. This will probably be psych thriller and horror and erotic horror, probably, because it doesn't have the erotic elements. It's not erotica, as I think a lot of people know with my books. It has erotic elements to it. It's not constant sex.
It has a plot.
Yeah, there's a plot, there's a story to this, there's a reason. Typically when there are sex scenes, there's a purpose behind what's happening. I think Her Master's Courtesan was probably, or any of the Master books, is probably the most sex I put in books. But obviously that's their job, so it has to be there. But the rest of them, I think I've put it in, but not enough to really call it erotica. And I had somebody call me out on that on Four Crows, that because I listed it, and I mean erotica because it had erotic scenes or whatever, and then gave me a 2-star review. Not enough sex in this book, and I'm just like, well, damn. Like, okay.
But you want it like on every page? Jeez.
Sorry, I didn't mean to add a storyline. I won't do that again.
Yeah, that's the problem with erotica itself. I mean, not a problem, because I read erotica when I need to take a break from books such as Lily's, and I just need my mind to be like numb from, and that sounds bad, but like just to clear it. And erotica doesn't have a plot. It's an erotic romance if it has a plot story, and erotica has nope. It's just like sex. So there's nothing to it, like just a big old book of smut. And so there's nothing at all wrong with that. But you can't. It's hair. I'm telling you, these little baby hairs, my little drive me crazy. Is so.
I've got a lot of these broken ones too now, because my dog. This is the glamorous life of authors, by the way. My dog chewed on my glasses, but I haven't had the time to go out and buy new ones. So when my hair is actually pulled up and I go to pull my glasses off, it like just rips my hair out because the plastic is all mangled or whatever. I'm probably just gonna wrap tape around it and just go with the taped glasses look, because I'm so busy writing now. I'm in such a zone with my writing now. I don't want to break it by going to the eye doctor, because that's my excuse. I just honestly I hate the eye doctor, and that's the excuse
for that matter.
Yeah, I don't like doctors and eye doctors or any kind of doctors. So I'm pretty good at coming up.
Dentist, eye doctors, you name it. If it's the medical profession, Lily is not a fan.
No, I'm not. They're mean. They tell me I need things, and I don't want those things, and they try to give me shots, and I don't want those shots, and I really just want them to let me come in and be like, clean bill of health, you're good, take off. We'll see you in like 7 years. That would be perfect, because then they wouldn't see me in 7 years, but still.
If only. But that just not work for you.
Not work for you. Unfortunately not.
Yeah, well, at least you're able to write now. So for those of you that don't know, Lily had to take some time off for her health. And so this year it's been really like publish, because she hasn't been able to do that for a little while, and close to 2 years. And so now we're like, we want all the books.
Mm-hmm. And now you're going to get all the books, because everything has been resolved. They have figured out what is going on with me. Apparently my immune system is a jerk and is attacking everything it possibly can. But yet I still get cold. So I'm like, what's going on with that immune system? Why aren't you attacking that issue? But yeah, now that they got it all figured out, I'm good to go. And I'm writing again, and it's just flowing. It's like, I don't know, for the past 2 years, it's been building up inside of me, which because we've been talking, and I'm like, I've got all these ideas going on, and I kept book of books where I'm writing down every time a new storyline comes to me. So I've got probably 30 books that I eventually want to write. So ideas aren't going to be the problem. It's just sitting down and typing them out. And as you also know, I'll say, okay, this is going to be an 80,000 word book, and 120,000 words later. It's just the characters. I get into it, and the characters take over, and they decide where the story is going, regardless of how I intended it to end. They're mean.
And I often tease her about being wordy. It's hard to cut words out of your stories, because they are necessary a lot of times. I mean, you can't have, there are some books that have way too much description. I mean, like, I don't need 3 pages to tell me the grass is green. I got it. But they, with stuff that's happening in your stories, you've got to have that description, or otherwise the reader is going to be lost as to what's going on, I think. And so, I don't know how to shorten your stories at all, because you've got to have all of that. It'll miss something. But it's not included.
Yeah, I mean, I do the basics. I give you the environment they're in. I give you if it's cold or hot, what do they smell like? What do they look like? How are they feeling? I do a lot of emotion in my books. But I think for darker books, that's a huge part of it, is these internal battles that are going on with these people, these emotional battles, that they're fighting within themselves. So if you strip that emotion out just to bring that word count down, you lose that dark element. Then it just becomes a play-by-play or a diary, and you don't feel it as the reader of what this person is going through. And I think that just hurts the story.
Who wants to read that?
Yeah, so they're going to stay as long as they need to stay, and take a break if you don't like it, and pick it up later. But yeah, I've decided at this point I'll never be able to write a short story, and I'll never be able to write a novella. Every time I try, they come out novel length, so I give up.
A little person decided to come upstairs, and I guess she's got to get ready for, it's a little after 9, so she has to get ready for bed, but she must have to have a potty break or something. Okay. And she's making faces at me over there at the stairs, and I'm just like, go away. Crazy thing. So anyhow, well, that's the update on Lily White. So for those of you, it hasn't really been announced yet, or well, not really, it hasn't been announced at all, but I will tell you that somebody named Lily White is supposed to be showing up in New York next August at Authors in the City. So if y'all want to meet Lily in person, you can watch for our tickets for Authors in the City to go on sale. They will be on sale in January. So yeah, y'all will have to come to New York and meet her for sure. That's the only signing you're going to do in 2018, or you have others?
I think that's the only one I'm going to do, because I really want to make 2018 about publishing the books that I want to get done. So I think that's probably the only trip I'm going to have time for. So,
yay!
Less opportunities to meet me, more opportunities to read my insanity. So.
Right, exactly. But at least, Lily was in New York with us the first time, and this will be our last Authors in the City, and we are going back to the scene of the original crime, so to speak. And so y'all can come there to meet her. It's August 11th in New York, and 2018. So, obviously not 2017 because it's already passed. But yes, so y'all will have to make sure if you can get to New York. We have readers coming to see her from England. So
yes, yeah. I'm very excited to meet. Very, very excited to meet. So
yeah. So these little people are getting restless. They can want to come upstairs. So I guess we'll have to wrap up the live version. There was something I was going to say about, oh yes, if I have to read the comments over here. Donna says for you to be safe. There's a hurricane coming towards Lily and I, so yes, well, yeah, watch your tree.
It's a fact of life. It's a fact of life. I think if I remain in Florida, I'm afraid these storms are just going to keep getting worse and worse. If I remain in Florida, I think I'm going to invest in hurricane shutters that just, with the push of a button, my windows are covered, and take out that tree, which I hate to do, but it's almost like during a storm, I stare at the tree, and it's like that scene in Poltergeist where the thunderstorm's going and the kid's looking at this tree knowing it's about to come at him. That's how I feel every time I look at it. So I think it's about time for this thing to be taken out, and I'll just put another tree in its place. So that'll be a little bit safer than that one. But we'll see. We'll see if I'm still here next week. Hopefully I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Donna says that darn, of course she says another word, tree, and she has a pool. Yeah, the tree could just slide into the pool and we'd be good.
The tree would have to go in one particular direction to take out my house. If it goes in the other directions, it's taking out neighbors, which I don't want that to happen either because of the neighbors. But if we're lucky, the branches go and the trunk stays. As long as the trunk stays, it's not going to be as much damage. It won't be completely destroying the structure of my house. So that's what I'm hoping. I've got it trimmed. So we're going to see if they've trimmed it enough that it's not going to go anywhere. But it's a massive laurel oak that's about 60 years old. So it's a beast. I couldn't hug the trunk of it if I tried. So
yeah,
we'll see.
And it's old.
Yeah.
So I mean, really, that's old for that kind of
Tree.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll see. It doesn't seem to have any rotting issues in it, so hopefully it'll stand strong. But I mean, if Irma really hits, even as a Category 3, that tree could be as strong as it wants to be, but those winds will take it down anyway. So we'll see. I mean, it's made it this long. We'll see how much more it can go. But we'll be safe. We're going to be camping out in the living room and have the pets in their carriers ready to take off should the need arise. But
there's not much you can. I mean,
there's nothing you can do.
You can't come to me because it's coming to me after it leaves you. So it's like,
yeah, I mean, any family we have is along the coastline, the East coastline. So if it turns and starts going up the coastline, I'm just going to wherever it's heading next. So I'm just going to stay in place and hope for the best. I mean, I'm in Central Florida, in Orlando, so I'm still about 40 to 50 miles off the coast. But from what they're saying, the 185 mile per hour winds extend out 40 miles. So it's going to be fun.
Lori says you go to her house. She's in Iowa. She has tornadoes, not hurricanes.
Well, I mean, in tornadoes, depending on how big they get, I mean, they're worse than a hurricane. I think I'd rather go through a hurricane than that. But when you get to a Category 5, my daughter was even asking me today, well, what does that mean? I mean, well, you take a tornado and make it the size of a hurricane, and that's what you have. I mean, this thing is
complete devastation.
Complete devastation. Complete devastation. And you can just hope that you're not in the direct path of it. I mean, we'll see. I've lived through so many of them that
I'm sure remember Andrew. I mean, that devastated Florida, and Irma is worse than Andrew. So
yeah, I mean, normally the ones that hit South Florida, Central Florida is about 200 miles up from there. So we don't get the brunt of those storms. But like in 2004, when we had 3 hit us back to back, it was a war zone in my neighborhood. It was devastation. There were these massive oaks down everywhere. I was outside watching as an oak tree took out one of my neighbor's houses, at which point I turned around and went inside because I realized at that point it was just too dangerous. Because normally us Floridians,
out here, hello,
we'll be out on the porch. Yeah, we're out on the porch watching the stuff fly by, like, woo, there it goes. I mean, it's a big party to us until it gets to the point where trees are coming down and stuff is truly flying. So we'll make it. I'm not worried. I'm a tough nut to crack.
Biking.
And I'm not going to die named Irma. I'm just not. If I've got to go, I want a cool name, not Irma. It's just not cool.
With Jose chasing her behind. Hello.
Well, there's Jose behind her, but now Katya, I don't even know how to pronounce it, is in the Gulf, is now a Category 1 hurricane. So that's coming from the west. We're really kind of screwed, I think. You know, unless these storms decide to kind of blow each other out or somehow affect each other so they stay off the coastline. But we're about to get battered. That's all there is to it. And I'm just thankful that I'm not on the coast themselves, which I think those at this point are being evacuated. So we'll see. But yeah, Monday's when it hits, or Sunday night. So I'll be camping out in my living room, typing away.
Welcome, Irma. I'm killing people.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what else are you gonna do? You know, sit there and panic, or you can just, you know, throw that panic into a book. So it'll be the perfect part of that book too, because that's when all hell breaks loose anyways. Might as well just pull that right into the storyline. And whenever people finally pick up the book and read it, they can know that that part was written during a massive Category 4 hurricane.
Yep, we tunnel vision right there.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, kitty kitty. Peeking around your. Now it's going to try to get to the back of your seat.
Oh, is she?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, kitty.
She's like, I want in the limelight, dagnabbit.
At least it's not my dogs. If it was my dogs, you would see, especially Annie, the youngest one, but she's taken this over as her couch, even though she's not. And you'll literally see this dog just fly right behind me, or I'll be sitting here and she just pops up right here and is licking me. And so I'm glad it's just the cats and not the dogs, because there is no telling Annie we're not playing right now. So sometimes I'll just reach down and hold her toy and she'll literally drag me away from my desk in my chair. Funny as anything, even though I was trying to work. So
Exactly. Don't bother me. I was just typing away here, Annie.
My baby. Yeah, I love my pets, even though they can be kind of pains, but I love my fluffies.
Yep, your little fur babies.
My little fur babies. So.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, ma'am. Y'all look for Her Master's Redemption. Releases tomorrow at midnight. Just a few more hours. It's already live in Australia and the UK, so y'all go ahead and pick it up. And then, like 2 hours and 45 minutes here, it'll be available. And then come see her in New York next August.
Sounds like a plan.
Yay! Alrighty, well, thank you so much for joining me, ma'am. If you'll wait a minute, my children want to say hello, and I don't let them come on YouTube. So,
okay.
while I'm live, so if you'll just hang on, I'll stop the broadcast. But thanks for joining us, everybody. And we have a show scheduled for next week, but who knows if we'll have a show next week?
No. Yeah.
We'll have to see. Hurricane. Yeah. You know, whatever. So we might have to wait another week for that novel. But anyway, thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you next time.